Commercial property development is one of the most rewarding ventures in real estate, but it's also one of the most complex. Every property investor, including yourself, is a potential property developer because as an investor, you need to get the highest possible use as your property. This involves some sort of development, whether it be a small improvement or a total redevelopment of the property. Let's walk through what it takes to turn a development vision into reality. Every successful commercial development follows a careful journey. Understanding the path is critical for any developer, whether you're just starting off or have years of experience. It begins with site selection and planning, whether it's something you currently own, looking at something you currently want to buy. The critical first phase involves understanding market demands. So what do we mean by market demands? Well, there's no use in developing something if there's no demand for it. For example, I've had clients call me and they've got a great development, which their architect drew up for a shopping centre in a small country town. Great development, nice shopping centre, corner location, but the town only had a couple of thousand people in it. So it was obvious the demand wasn't there for it. So the demand wasn't a feasible development. The other thing is how difficult is it to replicate? For example, situations where I had people calling me, they've owned two residential properties. So they cost $1 million each, $2 million to buy, and they decided to get a development application and approval for a childcare centre. Property cost them $50,000. So they got outlay was $2 million for the property and $50,000 for the development approval. They contacted me to see, well, what is it worth? Well, basically, they said, well, we think it's worth $3 million. So looking at a $950,000 premium on their approval. The question I asked them, what's stopping me spending $2 million and $50,000 getting a development approved across the road from where you are? Answer that question. So in that particular case, it wasn't worthwhile, wasn't valuable for that situation because it's easier to replicate in a nearby area if you can get approval, that is. So you have to evaluate the site's potential. How much will it get? Assessing the zoning requirements. Is the property zoned for that improvement? Has there been a recent rezoning? Has there been recent applications to do the sort of development you want to do and been rejected over the past months or years? And you also have to analyze the financial feasibility. There may be demand for it, but if the cost is going to be too much and you're not getting turn, it's not worth proceeding. So these are the sort of things you want to do at the start. A thorough evaluation at this stage can prevent costly surprises later. Some quick questions to consider are, what is the current zoning? What changes may be needed? Well, it may be zoned for a certain height limit. It may be a way you can go for an extra height limit. For example, some of the local council powers have been taken away by the state governments. And you look at what the state government has done in other areas with similar zonings to assess the potential of rezoning it. Does the location align with the market demands? So before, is there a demand for it? There's no use in having a great development, well-designed, beautiful property, top of the line, if there's no demand for it. And what environmental factors might impact development? For example, years ago, I was having lunch with a friend of mine who was actually in hotel development, and we were sort of talking about where's a good place to build a new conference centre, a resort. And we're sitting there scanning the east coast of Australia, trying to find where there was simply a gap in the market. And we've actually found one close to the city, already a reasonably well-known holiday destination, on the water, next to a golf course, which could be redeveloped into a high level, and got about talking to the local council, the councillors. They were in favour of it. It looked like a land was available to take over, to purchase, and everything looked fine. We also went to the extent of organising a meeting, federal minister planning and small business. In our further investigation, we found that there were koalas there, which would have been a big problem to get approval. So then, great development idea, good position. Everyone liked the idea, but we would have had a lot of trouble getting through, probably impossible to get through because of the local koala population. These are sort of things to look at. Other things like, obviously, there's water problems, there's forests, and that sort of stuff. And also in other developments, we had situations where we had massive sites. And what happened? There was bushfire situation in the state at that time, and the state government decided to have setbacks in the bush. So basically, you lost many meters of available development land because of a bushland setback situation. Then you've got the pre-development. Pre-development stage is where your vision starts taking shape. This involves assembling a team of professionals, town planners, architects, a specialist property lawyer, finance broker, surveyors, engineers, environmental specialists, and a coach consultant. You need this to secure necessary approvals. They all require special reports, environmental reports, engineering reports, surveys, legalities, or designed to fit into with a floor space ratio, the height limits, and that sort of stuff. Then you have to develop, then you have to have planning, development timeline. You start from here in the stages. Then, as important as anything else, structure your financing. How are you getting it financed? How are you going to structure? How much funds you need to start off with, and how much funds you need through all the stages till the finish of the development. This phase often determines success of your project. Having experienced professionals guiding you through entitlements, permits, and approvals can save both time and resources. And most of those resources are money. Then the next stage is execution. During construction, proper coordination becomes essential. The key aspects include site preparation, construction management, quality control, timeline management, and budget oversight. You've got to keep close watching your dollars where they're going. Don't overspend, because a lot of projects fail because of cost overruns. Next stage, completion and beyond. Obtaining certificates of occupancy, final completion. Marketing your property, securing tenants or buyers. For example, you may have an industrial development approval and development, and as you go through the process, you try to pre-sale each property, individual property. If there's several properties in there, you're separating out, selling individually, or you're trying to lease them out. But many clients have leased properties out before the completion of construction. So doing that helps with your finances well too. Getting pre-approvals, pre-leasing agreements in place, because you know the return you're getting, because especially with leasing, you're getting a 10% return on your initial investment, which is covers your borrowings and that sort of funds you've got available. And the going rate for that type of commercial investment is, say, 5% return. You'll well and truly cover your costs and put you in the right frame of mind with your bank manager. But with all developments, there are challenges. Throughout my years in commercial real estate, I've seen developers face various challenges. Unexpected site conditions. For example, developments in ex-mining area. Purchased a property, development looks great, but it was found in their geological study that there were mines there, which means that limited what they could build. Other things is developers have purchased property, ex-farmlands and those sort of open areas, because government was looking at rezoning it to residential, commercial, mix, etc. And many developers took the punt, bought acreages of large blocks of land, hoping that this land would be redeveloped or rezoned. It was rezoned. The problem is some people who purchased the land, some areas got rezoned for medium density housing, some got rezoning for industrial, and some got the short straw and rezoned for open spaces. So their land was virtually worth nothing. So these are sort of challenges you come across in development. You can make a lot of money out of it, and some of the wealthiest people in the world have been developers or are still developers. A situation where you may have land which got the right zoning, looks like that it's feasible. You may have pre-commitments, and you find out it's contamination. So you've got to remediate the site. Does the cost of remediation cover everything to ensure you're still making a profit? Other zoning complications where you've got a backlash from local residents when you would convert a residential property into a boarding house. And you've got a continuing complication with something like childcare centres, which can be redeveloped in local residential areas. And every time there's a new proposal for a childcare centre, even though the area is zoned for it, you're opposition to it. And the council has to listen to the opposition, and many times they're rejected. On the other hand, when it comes to election time, constantly hear the police, every local council election, hear how we're going to improve childcare centres, get more childcare centres in the area. Same thing with state government. Same thing. We're going to get more childcare centres. Federal government as well. But what happens? Some unfortunate incidents happen in a particular childcare centre. They've got to change the code, which means more staff, high development costs, and may not become a feasible proposition. So on one hand, the government is saying, listen, we want to reduce costs to encourage more childcare centres so that it doesn't cost you as much money. On the other hand, they're going to developers and it's going, well, if you want to develop a childcare centre, you've got to develop it a certain way, which means extra costs. And to run it, it's going to cost you more money because you need to hire 1 or 2 or 3 more staff to supervise it. This is what happens. You've got to be aware of these things when you're looking at developing something. So the conditions change all the time. So you've got to be close watch on what's happening. There's always finance hurdles because interest rates go up, they go down. There's credit squeezes, there's surplus of funds sometimes, all this sort of things. Construction delays due to weather, strikes, supply issues, labour issues, etc. So how do you overcome these challenges? Basically, it boils down to having the right expertise and guidance at each step. So in summary, successful property development often comes down to 3 key elements: thorough planning and research, having the right team of professionals, understanding and adapting to market demands. Commercial property development doesn't have to be overwhelming. Having someone who knows the process in your corner can help you navigate through all the complexities and turn your vision into reality. I'd like to hear comments. Are you looking at redeveloping your property? Are you a property developer? If I can help you, please contact me. My details on this video. It's Contesidis from CC Properties.